In today's video, what parts of the GTA are selling quite above asking through bidding wars, and what other parts of the GTA are a little bit more balanced when it comes to freehold and detached properties. Let's get to it. Hello everyone, this is Sam from SaberiSixRealEstate and Remax Realtron Realty Inc. As always, back with another video for you guys here today. As you guys can see, there's a change of scenery. I am slowly moving into my new office and studio. So I appreciate your patience in that regard. In coming days and coming videos, I'm going to be adding on to this new studio in terms of lighting and improving some of the production qualities. But right now we're in the duration of the move. Nonetheless, I appreciate you tuning in. As always, feel free to subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Furthermore, you can find my contact information with regards to my Gmail, my Instagram, my office, and now I have a TikTok where I post my showings when I go on showings with buyers, whether we're looking at condos, detached properties, whatever it is. I post a quick look at the properties we're seeing. Feel free to go follow me on my socials and get in touch with me with any questions you may have with regards to anything discussed in this video or any general inquiries whatsoever. Anyways, moving on to the topic of today's video, which is, as always, rising prices within the GTA and Toronto real estate market, but with regards to specifically freehold properties. Now, if you watched a couple of videos back when I discussed bidding wars and the trend of the return of offer dates and bidding situations for condominiums, more specifically the downtown Toronto condo market, and how the bidding wars were making a return, I was looking at listings, how many worked, how many failed within the last month. In that video, I quickly touched on freehold properties and detached properties. And obviously, I take a look at the numbers, and I also work with buyers and sellers. And on both fronts, for detached and freehold properties, I stated in my previous video that what I am seeing is more central parts of York region in the GTA, such as Vaughan, Richmond Hill, seem to have tempered down. Not in terms of the increase in prices, of course that is still occurring, but more so in terms of competition, namely buyer competition. And one of the indicating factors of this was the fact that for every 10 listings inside Richmond Hill in Vaughan, I was seeing maybe 6 to 5 for bidding and 4 right around market value, where the seller has listed the property according to what they believe to be market value, and they're willing to accept something in that range. So nonetheless, 60%, still a lot of biddings, but not as much as when I was looking with buyers further north. And by further north, I mean Aurora, Newmarket, and Barrie on several occasions. And there has been a new report by Zoocasa which has verified my own reporting and my own numbers. And that's exactly the report I'm going to go through in this video. Now, in this report, they break down what areas within the GTA, quote unquote, what municipalities, because these are technically different municipalities. More importantly here, they break down by area which areas have been seeing sold prices that have been under asking price and which areas have been seeing sold prices that are above asking. So in other words put, are the average sold prices in these areas higher than the average asking prices, or are the average sold prices here below average asking prices? In the case of the former, or the average sold prices are higher than the average asking prices, that is a strong indication of a lot of asking prices that are below market value to induce multiple offers. Thus, as a result, that's also indication of bidding wars being rampant in that area, right? Because that's exactly the method of a bidding war. You price a property well under market value to get a lot of people in through the door, and you get multiple offers like that, and it's quite like, you know, bidding on a piece of art or any other bidding scenario. Now, this is not to say areas that we'll go through that have asking prices that are higher than average sold prices. That's not exactly to say those are balanced markets by any means. Once again, do not get me wrong. Prices are continuously going up in all of these areas. It's just prices in certain areas are going up higher than others, and also there's more buyer competition in those areas as well. For instance, let's start with Vaughan. The average sold price in the city of Vaughan was 1.356 million, still quite high, but the average list price, the average asking price, was at 1.377. So as you can see, a difference of 1.2 to 1.5%. Once again, not to indicate that it's a balanced market or a buyer-friendly market by any means. Buyers are still quite, under pressure in these markets, and sellers still have the leverage. But still, the average sold price is below the average asking price. In Vaughan, we can consider within the context of the greater Toronto area, right? Pretty central. Of course, yes, if your point of reference is downtown Toronto, Vaughan is might as well be Narnia for you, might as well be up north. But speaking from a real estate agent perspective, where I work with buyers all over from Mississauga to downtown to Barrie to far east, such as Whitby and Oshawa, Vaughan is quite central. But in sharp contrast, now having taken a look at a central municipality such as Vaughan, when we look at somewhere far up north, such as Aurora, we see an average sold price of 1.4 million as compared to an average asking price of 1.39. And to be more specific, the average sold price is 1.410, so 1,410,000 to be precise in that sense, right? So here, the difference is on the converse of what we saw in Vaughan. It's around 1.4 to 1.5% selling at above asking price. Now let's go back to a little bit more central, such as Richmond Hill. Here, once again, we see the continued trend that we established with Vaughan, and that I've frankly established for a long time to pat myself on the back, unfortunately. But we see a continued trend here where in Richmond Hill, once again, very pricey area. Average selling price is around 1.4 million to be precise, 1.447, yet average asking price is above 1.5, is at 1.525. So in Richmond Hill, properties are selling 5% below asking. And if you've watched this channel, you know that I'm very, very much so keen on Richmond Hill as an overall area, but both with regards to its detached and freehold markets and condominium market as well. I do believe it has a lot of potential, and if you watch this channel, you're probably quite tired of me talking about the Richmond Hill condominium market, along with how much in love I am with parking spots and how every condo buyer should buy parking. Point here is though, of course, you see the average asking price here and average sold price is higher than what we were discussing in Aurora. Now we're going to actually continue that. Let's contrast it to another municipality far north, right? So we took Vaughan, a relatively central part of the GTA, compared it to Aurora, relatively north part of the GTA. Now we're going to compare Richmond Hill, a relatively central part of the GTA, to a relatively north part of the GTA. Once again, where, for instance, Newmarket, where this trend continues, wherein in Richmond Hill, properties were selling below asking price, but in Newmarket, once we go north again, properties are selling above asking price. To be precise, with regards to the average sold price, the average sold price in Newmarket is 1.169 and the average asking price is 1.139. And I can keep going on this regard. Markham, you see properties selling below asking. Barrie, you see properties selling above asking. And I'm only here comparing central to north. The same thing applies when we compare central to east, such as Whitby, Durham, and Oshawa. Property there are selling well above asking as well. Same thing with west. Although with the west side of the GTA, to be quite fair, to a lesser extent, as we are seeing with north and east. So why is this happening here, right? So let me expand upon what I said in my previous video and the trend I have established here. It has to do with namely one thing we have to consider, which is generally speaking, the places far north, far east, far west, that properties are selling above asking, a lot above asking, and there's a lot of bidding wars, right? What we see is cheaper properties, more affordable relative to detached properties, but more affordable options. And central areas such as Vaughan, Markham, Richmond Hill, parts of Brampton and Mississauga, once again, to you, if your point of reference is downtown, these are far west, but GTA provided, these are quite central. these are selling below asking. But the properties here are far, far higher in price. So the affordable properties, the cheaper areas for detached and freehold properties, are all experiencing biddings and selling above asking. And the less affordable, the more expensive areas for detached and freehold properties are actually experiencing a more balanced market and selling below asking. So this should indicate to us a trend of buyers, right, kind of taking the business elsewhere, right? If you are in the market for a freehold property, as I have been with a lot of buyers, if you cannot afford somewhere up to 1.3, 1.4, especially so for freehold properties that are detached, right? You kind of have no choice but to go explore all the way north and all the way east. Your options are not that ample in Richmond Hill, Vaughan, and Markham. You can still find things here and there, but your options open up far more when you're dealing with the 700s, 800s, 900s, a million, when you go to Whitby, Oshawa, when you go to Clarington, or all the way up north to Barrie, to Newmarket, to Aurora. Thus, as a result, this exodus of budgeted buyers shifting towards far north and far east and far west has an impact on raising prices, because once again, there is a lot of buyer competition moving simultaneously to lower priced options. And of course, the markets there read and react, right? And supply is always willing to meet where demand meets it. And there's quite a bit of demand for those lower priced options. Thus, as a result, the local markets react, a lot of bidding wars, a lot of properties selling above asking, and prices rising. Whereas more centrally located areas, once again, around 1.4, 1.5 million, you're less likely to see bidding wars because there's less competition. Nonetheless, once again, I want to clarify here that it's not as if there are no bidding wars occurring in Richmond Hill, Vaughan, or Markham. I'm in the market with buyers where their budget is around 1.4, 1.5. I'm also in the market with buyers where their budget is around 700, 800, right? For the 1.4, 1.5, once again, out of 10 listings, let's say in Vaughan, 5 to 6 of them will be for bidding. Whereas there will be those options that are priced around market value. When I'm in the market with buyers around 700 and 800, I was actually with them just last week, all the way in Barrie. We saw like 7 to 8 properties in the same day. All of those were for bidding. All of that 7 to 8 listings we saw that day were all for bidding. Both the numbers indicate this to me and my own experience as a real estate agent. Anyways, that is it for today's video. Once again, I appreciate you tuning in. As you can see, the studio is a work in progress. Let me know if there are any additions that I should make to the studio. Lastly, feel free to subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Thank you very much for watching. You can find my contact information in the description box with regards to my Gmail, my Instagram, my office, and my TikTok now. So feel free to get in touch with me with any questions you may have with regards to anything discussed in this video, anything discussed in previous videos, or if you have any general inquiries whatsoever. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe and stay tuned. Thank you.